Okay, welcome to Harry's first chess lesson, starting with the pawns. Now, the pawns are your front line of defence or attack, depending on what you're planning. You get 8 pawns on the board, and the thing with the pawns, just think of basically they can only go in a straight line. So generally the pieces move 1 square at a time, all the way to the end of the board if you can make it. But on the first move, you can actually do a double jump. So you can actually move 2 squares at the same time. Now there's a few reasons to do that. In chess, one of the main things you should remember is it's all about, in the middle game, controlling the middle of the board. So the more pieces you've got controlling the centre, the stronger the position you are. I'll come to the object of the game in the next lesson, but let's just start off with the pieces first. The pawns, as I say, can only go in a straight line. When they take, a pawn can only take another piece. So this is my opponent. Their pawns are coming up like this. Now, I can't take that pawn like that. Pawns can't take straight on, but they can take on the diagonal. So if this pawn's coming up, he's coming in a straight line, boom, I can take him and I'll remove his piece from the board. Alternatively, he could take me. If it's his turn or her turn, she can take me. Okay, simple as that. Now, as I mentioned earlier, on the first move you can move 2 squares at the start. The other thing to remember is if you can get that pawn to get to the end of the board, you can transfer it to another piece for a queen, any piece you want. A queen is the most powerful piece on the board, so more likely than not you'd trade up for a queen at the other end of the board. Okay, this is a Staunton chess set. It's a real beauty. We've had it in the family for years. The board, as I say, when you're setting up in my last lesson, make sure that if I'm facing my opponent this way, that I've got a white square. It looks on your right if you're looking at me, but from my position, from the player's position, you must have a white square in the right hand bottom corner. Otherwise the board's set up wrong. So okay, so once you've got that, you got your pawns there. Yeah, so that's pretty much it with the pawns. They're pretty, as I say, it's pretty simple. They either go in a straight line, or if there's another piece on a square diagonally to it, it can attack and take that pawn. Alternatively, in chess you don't have to take a piece. You can just move past it like so. Okay. Now the only other rule, and this is a rule that a lot of beginner players don't know, is called in passing, or en passant, and that's where, say there's a pawn here, my opposition's worked their pawn up, and I do the double move. So I've bypassed an attack. It's almost like a cheat. Now what they did to compensate for that, they said, well, the opposition have got one chance to do a move called en passant, or in passing, which is, if I do the double move to pass this pawn, he can come in and remove that piece. In other words, he moves to the square that I should have gone to. I'm not sure when they brought in this double move, but it did create problems. So then they thought, well, okay, we'll compensate that. If I do the double move, he can come in like that and take my piece. But you can only do it on the very next move. If I do this, and then he moves some other piece, he cannot do in passing later on. It has to be immediately after I make my move. So that's it pretty much for the pawns. Hope you enjoyed that. They are integral to chess because they're sort of like a wall, if you like, a barrier, but they can be critical in attacking too. A pawn actually can take any other piece on the board except the king. which we'll come to that later. But it can take, you know, all the other pieces, including pawns, of course. But again, it can only, I must emphasise, it can only take at an angle, right? It can only take like that, or like that. And it can only go in a straight line. After you've done the double move, it's only one square at a time. And that's basically it. So thanks for watching. That's my chess lesson for today on pawns. If you've got any questions, just put something in the comments. Otherwise, have a great day. Just live and have fun. Bye for now.